Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about SEO over time, how this field is changing, and we know it changes fast. I'm excited to discuss this topic with Jim Hedger. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Anatoly? It's good to meet you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I see you have, a lot of energy, to share about this topic, because I asked this question before our podcast and you started to talk a lot. Okay, before we start, just tell more about your experience, background, and why you decided to jump in SEO field.
Oh man, I got into SEO 25 years ago, before I even knew SEO existed as a field. How did I get in? I got in by answering a want ad in the newspaper. I graduated university as a youth counselor. I'm supposed to be a social worker, but the lifespan of a social worker is about 3 years after graduation, and then you get all burnt out. I knew I didn't want to be in social work anymore. I had just gotten married, went on my honeymoon, came back, saw a want ad in the newspaper that involved building websites, which I had just started getting into doing. Again, this is like 25 years ago, and the want ad was placed by a fellow named Ross Dunn, who was literally one of the pioneers of SEO. His company at the time was called Braveheart Web Design. During my time with him, that company morphed into what's now known as Stepforth Website Placement, which still exists and is an elite SEO company, SEO firm based in Victoria. And Ross is still practicing. Anyway, so I answer this want ad, and I meet this really cool guy. He explains that you can manipulate the placement of web pages and search engines, and that's what he wanted to teach me to do. And I've been doing something along those lines ever since. I got hooked immediately at the implications of being able to, basically control the flow of information.
Yeah, I remember this time. For example, when I started to learn more about SEO, at that time, I used one strategy. I bought more backlinks than my competitors had, and I created content, e-commerce content, and I didn't consider any user intent. At that time, that worked well. Today, it's not. We know that Google changed algorithms, and we can see that it happens, if I remember correctly, around 4,000 times a year. It's a lot, it's like 10 times a day. Can you tell how to learn about new algorithms, about these changes, and to provide new settings in time?
Okay, well, first off, I don't know how much profit there is chasing the algorithm as if it's something you can catch or understand or learn. Google has over the years given hints to what it wants to see in websites, and you could distill all of those hints into content, technical, and backlinks. And basically, Google wants you to build a easily accessible website for humans and for its bots that can be rendered over and over and over again easily for it, that contains good, credible information with links from credible sources. That's ultimately what Google wants. How to get there and how we've gotten there over time is another matter. It used to be just up to like 5 years ago, it was all about links, right? And Google created a problem of its own making. It made links into a commodity back in the back when they were making Backrub in their dormitory at Stanford, they created a self-fulfilling problem. And to this day, I'm not sure Google has figured a way out of it, but AI is the solution they're obviously going to try. Your audience is obviously very familiar with SEO and SEO technique, right? So they'll understand when I say backlinks were made into a commodity, and then Google told us not to treat them like a commodity. So you make them do this, and then you tell us not to use them that way. And of course, that became the dominant, as that was the easiest way to move the needle at Google, that became the dominant technique in SEO. And then Penguin came along about 5 years ago and destroyed the way Google previously evaluated links by just ignoring ones that it didn't think were important or relevant or topically similar to what was linked to on page. At least that's what they said. They're trying to do that more and more and more. And then the way that they did it, they used to penalize. So you'd get knocked down in the ranking, which gave a lot of incentive to help your opponents, your competitors get penalized somehow. By ignoring bad links, Google probably came as close as they could to getting rid of the detritus effect of commodifying links, because they really screwed that up. So now, honestly, it's about creating really tight content and making a website that can be easily understood and rendered.
Can you tell how to create this content? We always hear that you need to create high quality content, valuable content that considers user intent. How to do it? How we can measure this content is high quality?
Okay, well, first off, knowing the topic is important. And if you don't know the topic, that's cool. You know somebody who does know the topic. It's the internet. If only there was a device to find experts on stuff, eh? So if you don't know the topic, you can always find somebody who is a very good writer, who is a good researcher, and who can, write to the topic. Google wants expert opinions. But Google, at the moment, this may change a couple years down the road. I can't speak to the future, but at the moment, Google wants expert content, but Google doesn't know exactly who the experts are. So it's not like Google will look at a byline and then check out the infograph for everybody for the person associated with that byline. That there's way too many mistakes that can be made there, and it's too easy to fake that. What Google does instead is it looks at a level of writing and patterns in the writing that an expert in whatever field would make over and over and over again. Somebody who does legal writing, for instance, will have a certain pattern to their writing, and it'll read differently than somebody who does medical writing or real estate writing. Somewhat different at any rate. And there'll be different words or different phrases that get often repeated. And Google looks for patterns like that when judging the quality of content. And this is where your backlinks become important. Your backlinks are your extra votes of credibility, ones that come from highly relevant, highly trafficked websites or web pages that tick a number of boxes for Google that link into your website and then again are topically relevant to the content on your page. Those links will bolster Google's perception of the credibility of the content that you're giving them.
Yeah, agree with that. Okay, can you talk more about your writing experience? For example, I often see when my clients and any webmasters, have no time with writing. They usually pay attention to develop, innovate their products. That's okay, because competition is fierce at any niche. But if you need to create high quality content, you need to write high quality text as well. And some I'm not sure it's a good idea to hire copywriters. And you mentioned that you need to find someone who understands the topic. Yeah, love it. But if someone wanna write themselves, can you tell from your experience, writing experience, how to improve writing skills and create high quality content?
Okay, this is a hard answer because every client experience is going to be different.
Mhm.
The easiest way to kill momentum on a really good project is to ask the client to write some content for you, because it's never
Mhm.
going to happen. I mean, maybe it will, but the chances are they're not going to, because they're running a business. They got a whole bunch of other stuff to do.
Yeah.
And often, if they want to write the client, if they want to write the content, you probably wouldn't be in the room anyway. Um, so they're not going to do it, but they have to describe their product or their service or their business. It's the fun thing about being a writer is you have to become an instant expert in everything, in any
Mhm.
topic that you're addressing, and time is money. So you got to become an expert in half an hour or an hour, and then you have to wrap out the content and move on to the next job. If you want to do a really good job, you need that client to give you information, but they're not going to give it to you in writing. You have to talk to them, listen to them, invest a little bit of your time in listening quite keenly to what they have to say, taking some of the phrases and researching those phrases. Ask them to describe their community. Ask them to describe their own favorite business client or their favorite business experience. It almost doesn't matter what you're asking them to describe, because you're asking them to describe their passion, their business, what they do all day, and they'll come up with words that you can key off of and maybe find a voice that speaks to, well, to your client's passion. If you can do that, and you can research the business, product, service, and get all the general terms right, then you can probably write good content.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, got it. Can you tell how to create the right strategy? For example, if I open well-known tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, Google Keyword Planner, Uber suggests many others, I see a list of keywords, a lot of keywords. For example, if I type weight loss, I can get weight loss supplements, weight loss reviews, how to lose weight, and many
Yeah.
others. How to find keywords that will bring results to you, and it's not competitive, like because for example, if you choose keywords that are relevant to your niche, but when we have many other great pieces of content with many links, it's hard to overcome them. From your experience, how to find the right strategy?
Two ways that we have to do this running parallel with each other right now, because the search world is changing and we got to cover both bases. Um, actually, if you do this well, you're going to cover both bases. Have Google Search Console start gathering as much information on your client's website as possible, as early as possible. Um, you'll want at least 30, but hopefully more days of information. You can look at in Search Console, search performance. You can then look at pages and queries people use to find those pages.
Mhm.
You can isolate specific pages, and again, look at the queries people use to find those pages. Um, I use SEMrush or other SEO tools, other tool sets, to get a sense of the popularity of words, how frequently they might be used as a keyword term, but I don't put a huge amount of stock in that. I'm most interested in what keyword phrases were entered when people clicked on the content that my client was putting out. If I write to those keyword phrases and get them and any ancillary phrase that might come alongside them, anything that might help describe or give more description to that phrase, then I'm probably going to be writing good content or good, strong, searchable content. But more importantly, I'm writing to what the site visitors are telling me they are interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it. Agree with that. Yeah, it's better to learn user intent, to understand what kind of information they wanna get, and yeah, to
In the early
create
days,
this
I used to
content.
do all this keyword research. I would go nuts on keyword research, and I would make these huge assumptions beforehand
Mm-hmm.
on what was going to be successful and what wasn't going to be successful, just by looking at the client's website. And I got to tell you, 9 times out of 10, my assumptions were wrong. The
Mm-hmm.
data, and when you look at the data, I thought it would be this, but as it turns out, the users wanted that. So always go with what the users tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agree with that. Okay, let's talk about adding keywords to the content. Where we can add keywords in the text that Google can understand the intent of your content and rank in the top 10 results.
Well, that's the other thing I think that people really need to be thinking about now. Google is using AI to suss out the meaning of words that we use in our sentences, our queries. So Google's trying to figure intent from two different directions: the intent of the searcher themselves, and why she or he would enter the keywords, phrases in that way. But they're also trying to suss out the intent of the webmaster, the person who created that content. Why is this content written this way? What does it mean? What are they trying to sell? Are there other search users we can credibly direct to this, and would that enhance their experience? So don't chase keyword phrases directly unless those phrases work in the sentence. Google understands that Google is now understanding similar words, similar spellings, similar meanings. Google understands metaphor. It's rare that Google comes across descriptions for products or services it hasn't already seen. And if you write to the keyword phrases and the keyword queries that users most frequently use to get to that specific information, and again, describe all around that keyword phrase. Be liberal with your words. There's no maximum or minimum word count. Well,
Yeah.
I suppose there's a minimum word count, but there's no maximum word count that I'm aware of. Be as descriptive as you can be. I mean, don't overload the user. Nobody wants that, but make it useful, make it interesting, make it succinct, so that the user actually gets the information in the first paragraph or so, because that's what they're there for. They're not there to read your flowery text. They're there. The user is there to get something. Give it to them as quickly as you can, but give it to them as credibly as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it. Okay, let's talk about technical optimization. Can you tell how to find technical errors and what to do if you can't fix them? For example, on Spotify, or not Spotify, Shopify, Wix, and many other well-known CMS systems, we have limited possibilities. What to do if you can't get in the green line according to page speed insights? By using these CRMs. What do you think?
Number one, if you um, if you don't have the technical skills, then work with a dev team. It's really, really important. Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento. A couple of years ago, websites were based on like blog emulators, website creators for blogs like WordPress. And that was, if you had basic HTML skills, you could easily work a website. You could understand WooCommerce. You could put Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento. These are platforms that are at a slightly different level than your WordPress build was at. And if you're unable to walk around the back end comfortably, work with a dev team. Now, if your client is large enough to be on the Shopify platform, then webmasters and retailers have to prioritize their needs. So if they're on Shopify, it's not cheap to be there. If they're on BigCommerce, there's likely a support team working with them. As the SEO, your job isn't necessarily to do all things. Your job is to spot the problems, advise on the problems, give a set of options to solve the problem or the implications of not solving the problem, and let their team do their work. Unless if you have the skills to work in the back end, then absolutely do it. I don't. My skills, I'm 53. My skill set ended at the WordPress generation. I'm not going to mess around in the in the back end programming of a higher platform until I've been trained to. And in my career, I haven't been trained to. I ain't touching that. What I can do though is guys. What I have done though is, and quite successfully, integrated myself with dev teams and worked with them and guided them to make changes that miraculously brought traffic to their websites. And devs are fun to work with. They're if you get a really good relationship with the team, then it's a lot more fun than the olden days when you used to have to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's better to consider your strong side. For example, if you are good with writing, then write a lot more. If you're good with technical optimization, so jump on this field, because it's the same on social media. For example, on LinkedIn, you might get information that live streams provide high engagement. But if you're not good with live streaming, why you need to do it? Just find your strengths. You can write, you can make awesome design or technical optimization. It's the same. Just consider your strong side and jump on that. Then results will come. I have the question about interlinking. Can you provide more insights how to interlink content on the websites, and do we need to do it to increase ranking positions?
Do you mean like getting backlinks from other websites?
Interlinking, it's more like internal
links
links.
Your own site. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, yeah, your internal link structure is kind of critically important. It shows Google and other search engines how you prioritize different pages and content, and it also think of like your website as a city or a neighborhood, and the links that you build are paths throughout that neighborhood. And not only are they paths, the anchor text you use should be like wayfinding devices. They help the user find their way around, and in turn they help the search bots figure out what content is going to be found on the next page and how it relates to the previous page it was on. It's all about creating a contiguous user experience that, like, again, gives the search user the information they came for in the first place. They're either going to buy a product, or they're going to figure out that, or they're going to get information that they needed to figure out a problem or a solution they were looking for.
Yeah. Okay. What about external links? Which techniques do you like more? How do you earn links?
A couple of different ways. I tend to work with really big companies that have large supply chains. So you work the supply chain. Everybody is connected to everybody somehow, and these are highly relevant links. So you got to talk to the marketing team, because they're the ones who are talking to all of the relationships that business has. All of those relationships have websites. I know Google says reciprocal links are bad. they aren't bad. Reciprocal links that are clear, obvious reciprocal links are bad. But if you're an auto manufacturer and you work with a engine component company, those two websites should link together. And one website should have a link to the other. And again, anchor text is really important here. Don't have click here or our partner or something like that. Use anchor text that actually describes the product or experience the user is about to have when they move from your page to your link partner's page. So that's the best way. By far the best way is to work your supply chains. If you can't do that, work your communities, work your own contacts as an SEO. I know many other SEOs who have clients in similar fields to mine. Well, I wouldn't want to exchange links with a direct competitor. I'm happy exchanging links with somebody in a different city, perhaps, who is in a different, who's in the same or a similar sector. Any way that it's relevant to create the link, find a way to do it. The last way is to go and write an email asking for it. That's just trench work that is horrible and everybody hates doing. But sometimes you got to write the emails.
Yeah, outreach. Okay, let's talk about the parameter expertise, authority, trust. Can you tell how to improve this parameter for a website?
Could you rephrase? I'm sorry. Could you phrase that again?
The parameter EAT, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. EAT is, I think, a really misunderstood concept. Expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness are items that Google mentions in their Quality Raters Guide. The Quality Raters Guide is published for a group of people who are employees of Google, who their job is to look at search engine results pages and rate the quality of the SERPs, the search engine result pages. And they have a huge number of criteria. Why should this website, that website, and that website, why are these URLs mentioned in these result sets? So the Quality Raters Guide are a set of instructions for the Google Quality Raters to look at search results and look at the websites in those search results and gauge, did the websites meet these criterias, these set of criteria to rank against any given set of keyword queries. Now, SEOs pay attention to the quality guidelines, quality rater guidelines, because that's the closest glimpse that we have under the hood at Google. Google makes a big deal of expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. But you can't, how to say this, there's no actual way to score any of that. I don't think Google has an EAT measurement that you can gauge. Like, you remember when they used to publish the PageRank toolbar? They don't have anything like that when it comes to EAT. What you have to do, again, is research the living heck out of the topic. As a writer, you need to be, and Anatoly, you've done a number of interviews and you've had to meet people and instantly gauge their vibe, figure out who they are, get into their heads and try to find a way to relate to them, right? It's the same thing with content. When you're writing an article or you're writing page content, you got to get into that content, find a way to relate to the reader who's going to be absorbing that content. And that's you again research the hell out of it, and that's how you get expertise. Or you might just go to school for 4 years and earn a degree.
Yeah.
That's another way to acquire expertise. Authoritativeness, that's a measure of your helpfulness, of your gravitas, of the truthiness of the content that you're providing. And trustworthiness, that's actually I think that's a measure of the link graph around you. Are you hanging out in a cool neighborhood? Are the people coming in trustworthy? Is the links in your content trustworthy? Are you in any point sending a Google user into a place where they'll have a bad user experience? See, here's the funny thing: Google doesn't. Google gives like 3-paragraph descriptions of EAT, of expertise and authoritativeness and trustworthiness. They leave a lot of it up to the webmaster to figure out what might this mean. It doesn't. Google never describes things for humans. They always describe things for how they affect Google. So when looking at the Rater guidelines, think about how does this affect how Google does its job, and that's how Google wants you to read that document.
Yeah, totally. And I just wanna add a few elements that I use. It's better to create page about us with your team and submit your personal photos, your story. Because in the end, people wanna cooperate with a human, not with a brand, and it helps to increase trust. Be active on social media. Build relationships with other specialists in your niche, as I do. I just interview many SEO specialists, and it helps to increase trust. Just go ahead and be active in your niche. I have the question about learning SEO. For example, if someone wanna jump on this field to earn money in some day, can you tell where to start, what to read, and how to learn SEO?
Probably the best way to learn SEO is to get involved in affiliate marketing. If you're making pages that you yourself are going to be earning long-term passive income off of, you're probably going to have incentive to learn as quickly as possible. Some people, that's not their gig, and that's totally cool. If that's not your thing, get involved with the community group. Be an activist. Get some Forest Alliance website rated really high, and do something really good for the earth while learning your craft. Find something that really motivates you, and apply that to make a website about that, or go volunteer or work for somebody who needs their website promoted. What you do not do is read a couple search engine land articles and hang a shingle. Don't do that. Apprentice for somebody. You know what? Find somebody in the SEO field whose writing you've read, and ask them if they have grunt work they need done. I know that sounds crazy, but you'd be surprised how you can get your foot in the door that way. Participate in forums, join Webmaster World, ask questions, lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. The coolest thing about the SEO community, and it's been like this since day one, is we're still pioneering a field. And so we're still really happy to help others get a leg up. And I think that spirit just permeates the industry. You go to conferences too and meet people, and don't be go to the sessions, learn at the sessions, but don't be afraid to approach the speakers afterwards. I mean, don't be a douche about it. Be cool. The people, as a speaker, I can tell you straight up, we appreciate drinks. But we're there to share, that we're at conferences specifically to share knowledge with people. So please take advantage of that.
Yeah, nice tips. Okay, you live in Canada. Can you tell the difference between Canada and the US? What kind of difference webmasters need to consider when they cover Canada or the US?
It really depends on the niche that they're working in. For instance, if you're in pharmaceutical, there's radically different laws in Canada than there is in America about what you can and can't say about the efficacy of a product, or even if you can even mention what the product is there for. In Canada, you are allowed to mention a drug's name, but you can't say what it's there for. So we have all these like Viagra commercials, but no one says what Viagra's for. Just this guy skipping down the road really happy in the morning. You got to know laws like that. You got to know if you're working in Canada, or actually, Canada, the UK, Australia, or New Zealand, you got to know how to spell words in the way that the local people read. Americans truncate words frequently. The rest of the rest of the English speaking world has extraneous use on dozens of different words. Um, if you're working in Canada, understand that a quarter of the population speaks French, and there's a number of idioms that work into general English that um, will look different to any Canadian than they will to an American. Um, I once outed myself in America by mistake by pronouncing Mount Rainier, IER, to a Canadian is would sound like Renier, not Rainier. So be aware of distinctions like that.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Can you predict the future? What kind of future will be in SEO field? SEO will be dead, or SEO will be grow? Your predictions about that?
Well, SEO has died so many times in the course of my career that I honestly I think it's immortal. As long as there is a search feature of any given product or any given web page or app, there will be a need for SEOs. But the field that we work in is changing rapidly. See, here's the weird thing. Whenever a major change happens in the technology or happens in the environments we work in, social media killed SEO. Remember how that happened? It never does. It just changes it, augments it, adds to it. So we're going to be working in augmented reality soon, or virtual reality soon. It's still going to be about describing products. It's going to be a lot of schema, or some other descriptor language that comes along to replace schema. But learnschema.org now. There's I'm pretty sure it's still going to be text-based, although the interface for the user themselves may or may not be text. It may be voice. We are going to be working in the back end, working in text. I'm 90% sure of that, but the interface is going to be voice activated far more than it's going to be keyboard activated. Geez, that's a very hard question, given how quickly things are changing. I think Google's going to start creating a lot of the content itself. We already see it doing this in we already see Google doing this in certain circumstances where it can where it's like live time information, temperature, breaking news, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And delivery. Everything is going to local search is going to be more focused on delivery than on getting you there. That's my that's my big prediction. Ha.
I only see that SEO is growing. Probably in one day SEO will be dead, but it's far away from now. Far away, Yeah, I remember when Jeff Bezos said that Amazon will be bankrupt one day, but it's far away from the real situation that we have today. And according to many studies, we can see that SEO is growing. And it will not be dropped just in one day. Of course, if you can see that it's decreasing. So that means we can get some insights that it's possible. But right now we can see only it's growing. Jim, it's a big pleasure. It's a big pleasure to get you on my show, to learn from you, to share, tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Okay, well, I keep a pretty low profile compared to how it used to be. A decade ago, I was on the speaker circuit, and I was published in in Search Engine Journal and Search Engine Land and most of the publications and stuff. Now it's probably easiest to find me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and I reply to you. You write me, I will reply. Please listen to Webcology on WMR.fm. You can either find it at WMR.fm or any fine podcasting distribution service near you. Go to conferences. I'm likely to appear at them. And I love talking to other SEOs, especially new SEOs. I'm at the point where I'm going to be retiring soon. So passing knowledge is what I'm all about now.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you can find all links to Jim in the description below. Listen to us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. Yeah, it's a big pleasure to learn, to get new insights about SEO. And yeah, I wish you to stay strong in this field. How long you want?
You too, Anatoly. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. It was a pleasure meeting in this environment.